What's up, guys, and welcome to the Temple of the Jade Serpent Heroic Guide, Healing Guide / Overall View Guide. And of course, as always, the abilities will be scrolling around above. So take a look at those for each of the bosses. Make sure that you pause them and read them if you need to. No big deal there. But what I wanted to do was show you guys kind of what I see as a healer in this dungeon. And this dungeon is actually pretty simple. Now, the reason that this one's so easy on Heroic, guys, is because most people have ran this dungeon about 27 times while leveling. Typically, just at least you've seen it once, because if you didn't do the dungeon quest just to get the experience, I mean, it was a good chunk of experience just to at least come in here once so you're seeing it, you're familiar with it. This was also one of the dungeons that was available on the beta. Okay, so right off the bat. So this was one of the ones that most people, especially if they were playing the beta or had seen, that they know what's going on in here. So that's kind of a nice thing to have. If you don't, that's why you're here, right? So let's get right into it. This is the first boss. The first boss will spawn 4 big Waterlord ads, okay? That's my Waterlord. And what this does is you want to have the tank pick him up and put him right where he is right now in our group. The reason being is because water will shoot up from random water spots, and in this one the water is bad on the floor, so you don't want to stand in that. It will tick, it will hurt, and as you can see right here where it's bubbling, once it explodes it does do some magical damage, so you want to make sure that you're outside of that. Once you kill one of the waterlogged ads, it'll split into 3 smaller ads and leave a pool on the ground that you also don't want to stand in. So the best way for a tank to do this is to kind of tank the big guy in the back of this room, kind of where I'm at right now, and then kill him there, and then kite the 3 little ads back up to the front, so that way when the next ad comes out, he doesn't have to move, he just taunts, brings him back down, rinse and repeat. Okay, but you do this 4 times. It is mundane. There's not a lot of damage going out as long as people aren't standing in stupid stuff. So as a healer, pretty much you're just keeping your dots on the tank, trying to do as best you can there, trying to avoid damage, and kind of helping DPS. You know, Ursol's Vortex here to kind of keep those ads grouped up is never a bad thing either. Just again, if you don't have a strategy, you just kind of go with the flow, right? I mean, it's a pug, so go with the flow, kind of see what happens. You should be okay. The next part to the boss is he actually goes into, once you've broken that 4th ad, you can see now he's spraying in a circle, and this is all he does. He's a big sprinkler, okay? Your job is to try to run across these platforms that are all over, because if you stand in the water, it does damage you. Now, it doesn't damage you a lot, so it's kind of up to you how careful you're going to be with that. I would recommend, you know, trying to stay out of it as much as you can. And do you want to get hit by the sprinkler? No, it does do a significant amount of damage, plus it does a knockback, which will interrupt your casting. So that might be something you think about too, is can I stay here, finish this cast whether I'm in water or not, but am I going to get hit by the big sprinkler? As long as the answer is no, you're probably okay. And that boss is really that simple, guys. This dungeon, again, you're just circling the room. So as a healer, like as a druid, like I would put my mushrooms on one thing. You know, you can pop tree form. Tree form's always nice on this fight. Make sure you've got your rejuves ticking. That's always big. Anything that you can hot. As a hot healer, this is a piece of cake, because you can literally rejuve everybody, and the rejuve actually ticks more than the water damage. So you can literally have people just standing in water, and it's really not going to affect you too much. And they can just burn the boss. That boss is pretty much GG. This next boss, there's 2 parts. There's 2 different Shas. Oh, sorry. And what they do is they stack based on your damage. So the more you damage them, the higher their stacks get. So you just pretty much go from one to the other, one to the other, one to the other, as they reset. Here's the trick: is what you'll find is that one DPS will be attacking one ad, the tank will be attacking another ad. It's never really the same. They're both growing at the same time. There's pulsing AoE going out because they don't know what to do, and that's okay. You can heal through it. Just keep in mind that right off the bat, like, make sure you've got your mushrooms down, because everybody, at least melee and tanks, are going to be in that general area in the middle, because that way they just turn and they can keep DPS. They don't really have to move. They don't have to do much else. So what you're really trying to do is make sure your mushrooms are down there. If you're a druid, you know, make sure that that's where your Swiftmen's going. You know, any big AoE abilities that you have, the higher their stacks get, the more it's going to hurt. So I would recommend just kind of keeping an eye on that. And help DPS, you know what I mean? Like, you will have downtime during this fight that you are more than welcome to go ahead and just throw some dots on, throw a couple DPS spells on them. It's not a big deal. This fight, again, is one of those fights to where if you really, really screw it up and you only attack the one guy and kill him, it is a little bit difficult, and it will require a testing of your healing, like a very, very big one. So be careful with that. Also, the last thing you really want to worry about is at the end, again, the same thing. Once one dies, the other one will do a little bit. But you don't really have to worry about anything. As a healer, just make sure that as long as everybody's kind of grouped up and the range is kind of in another group, if they are, it's not a big deal. Again, this damage isn't going to be too ridiculous for you to heal through. So keep that in mind while you're going through here, that you know, you just want to cycle between the ads. That's the biggest thing. And make sure you're taking the one that the tank's attacking, and that way you can always blame the tank if you fail at switching, because, well, I was just attacking the one that the tank was attacking. So be a good tank. This boss, a little bit more fun. What you do here is, at least on heroic mode, you can almost stand inside of these big waves and it's not going to hurt you. As long as you don't get hit by those 4 outgoing waves that come out of the boss. The only other thing you really have to worry about is dispels, a little bit of magical damage. Other than that, it's kind of GG. You will get, once you push him to a certain point, he will actually switch forms into his dragon form. His dragon form phase is a little bit more kind of, I don't know, hard, I guess. Like, he'll push everybody back, he'll jump in the middle, and then he'll start casting these green puddles. And what he does here is then, like, he'll cast them underneath people. So for this phase, you kind of want to stay a little bit spread out. And again, you don't want to get hit by the same thing. They just turn from orange to red. And then as you can see, as the tank rotates him, more of the room fills up with the green goo, because he will cast them the same and he'll just go all the way around the room. So you just kind of want to stay out of the green goo and kind of stay loosely spread out, just to kind of negate some of the damage that your healer's going to have to deal with. That's the biggest thing, guys, is to make sure that you're just burning them down and you're just not standing in front of one of those waves. Other than that, you're literally just tunneling into this boss. This boss is really fun to just blow all your cooldowns for and just wreck. It's a nice fight to just literally go as hard as you can. The last fight, Sha of Doubt. This is actually one of my favorite fights because as a healer, you have to dispel. You will see that if you don't dispel, what happens is he does a pulsing AoE that hurts him decently, but if he's stacked, it'll hit everybody the same amount. It's not weaker on the AoE side. It will literally pulse for the same amount, and it will hurt you. And especially in this phase where you get all the ads that come, and you need to group them up, you need to be really quick on those dispels, guys, so that way you're not worried about who's living, who's dying, anything like that. You're just simply, it's up, we're dispelling. And then you just move your ads to the middle, tank picks them up, you AoE them down, and then you spread back out, and you get back on the boss. And that's literally the whole fight. It's just pretty much stack up for ads, nuke the ads, spread out, dispel, win. There's really not a whole lot of other damage going out. He will do occasional abilities, but again, they're not really significant. It's a matter of people just kind of watching what they're doing. The biggest thing in this phase is to not have people go crazy when the ads come out. You all just go stand on the tank. Go stand on the tank. They do have an aggro table, and that's all you have to do. You know, spread diseases to them if you're a DK, death and decay, anything, you know, any threat drop that you might have, maybe throw that out there just to help the tank get a little bit of aggro. But for the most part, you're just grouping them up and you're burning them down. And anything you can do to help that is always key. So keep that in mind, guys, that's really your main priority on this fight. And again, the quicker you are on dispels, the less raid damage you're going to have to heal as a healer. So make sure that that's your biggest thing is, oh, it's up, boom, down. Like right here, you see it, and boom, it's down. You just got to make sure you're getting it down so that way no one else is taking damage with the tank. You keep your Hots rolling on the tank, and it's GG. And it's really that easy, guys. So we'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed it. Have fun.